Your soulmate left something for you. Look closely, don't scroll, listen to this, because this message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, even if you don't fully understand why yet. The fact that you stopped here, the fact that your thumb hesitated for just a second longer than usual, that wasn't random, and you know it. Something inside you felt pulled, almost gently but urgently at the same time, like the universe tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Hey, pay attention." So take a breath and stay with me, because this message is for you, and your heart needs this right now. You've been carrying questions you don't say out loud, wondering why certain connections never fully faded, why certain names still echo in your mind when you're alone at night, why your chest tightens when love comes up in conversation. Don't scroll, listen to this. Your soulmate left something for you, and it's been surrounding you quietly, patiently, waiting for the moment you were ready to notice. This isn't about coincidence, this is about timing, and divine timing doesn't rush, but it never misses. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because you've been in a season of awakening without realizing it. The confusion, the emotional waves, the sudden urge to let go of things that once felt comfortable. That was your soul stretching. You weren't breaking, you were becoming. And while you were growing, while you were learning how to sit with yourself, your soulmate's energy was still connected to yours, leaving signs like breadcrumbs along your path. Don't scroll, listen to this. Have you noticed the numbers lately? The way 1111 keeps finding you when you're deep in thought, or how 222 shows up right when you're questioning love, or 333 when you're on the edge of giving up? That's not your imagination. That's communication. The universe speaks in patterns before it speaks in words. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because those signs weren't meant to confuse you, they were meant to comfort you. They were reminders that you're not alone, that you're being guided, that something unseen is working in your favor even when it feels quiet. Your soulmate didn't leave you empty-handed. They left you a feeling that keeps resurfacing, a knowing that love isn't over for you, even if the past made you doubt it. Don't scroll, listen to this. You've been feeling more sensitive lately, more aware, more emotional in ways you can't fully explain. Music hits deeper. Silence feels louder. Memories rise up out of nowhere. That's not weakness, that's awakening. Your heart is tuning into a frequency it wasn't ready for before. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the longing you feel isn't about the past, it's about alignment. It's about something unfinished that's slowly moving back into balance. Your soulmate left behind emotional energy that's been activating you, nudging you to heal old wounds, to release old fears, to finally believe that love doesn't have to hurt to be real. Don't scroll, listen to this. You didn't imagine the pull. You didn't make it up. You didn't care too much. You felt what you felt because it was real, and real connections don't disappear, they transform. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the delays, the silence, the space between you and what you want wasn't rejection, it was protection. You were being prepared for a version of love that matches who you are now, not who you used to be. And here's where it gets important. Very soon, something is going to shift. It might come as a message, a dream, a memory that suddenly makes sense, or an unexpected moment that hits you right in the chest. When it happens, you'll know. You'll feel calm and emotional at the same time, like something finally clicking into place. Don't scroll, listen to this. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because you're closer than you think. The universe doesn't tease, and your soul wouldn't ache for something that wasn't real. What your soulmate left for you wasn't meant to keep you stuck, it was meant to guide you back to yourself, so when the timing aligns, you'll recognize love without fear. Stay open. Stay gentle. And don't ignore the signs, because this is only the beginning. Don't scroll, listen to this, because this message is for you, and your heart needs this right now in a way that's hard to explain but impossible to ignore. If you're here, still listening, it's because something inside you already knows this isn't random, and the universe doesn't interrupt people unless there's a reason. Take a breath, stay with me, don't scroll, listen to this, because what's unfolding around you right now has been building for longer than you realize. You've been feeling it, haven't you? That quiet pressure in your chest, the sense that something meaningful is hovering just out of reach, the way your emotions rise for no clear reason and then suddenly settle again. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the waiting you've been doing wasn't wasted time, it was sacred preparation. There was a season where everything slowed down, where love felt distant, where silence felt louder than words, and you wondered if you were being forgotten. Don't scroll. Listen to this. You weren't forgotten. You were being aligned. Your soulmate didn't disappear from your life, they shifted into another form, one that could reach you spiritually before it could reach you physically. That's why you've been getting signs instead of answers. That's why numbers started following you, 1111 showing up when you're thinking about connection, 222 appearing when you're questioning whether love will ever feel safe again, 44 showing itself when you're exhausted but still holding on. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because those numbers weren't meant to rush you, they were meant to reassure you. They were gentle reminders that something unseen is working in your favor, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Don't scroll, listen to this. You've been shedding layers lately. Old versions of yourself that learned to survive instead of receive, old beliefs that said love always comes with pain, old habits of doubting your own worth. That shedding hurt, and no one really talks about that part. Growth doesn't always feel empowering, sometimes it feels lonely, confusing, and heavy. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the loneliness you felt wasn't a sign that you were alone. It was a sign that you were outgrowing what no longer matched your soul. And while you were healing, while you were learning to sit with yourself, to choose peace over chaos, to stop chasing connections that drained you, your soulmate's energy was still tied to yours, responding to every shift you made. Don't scroll, listen to this. That sudden urge you felt to let go, to forgive, to release resentment you swore you needed for protection, that wasn't weakness. That was readiness. The universe doesn't bring soul-level connections back into alignment until both hearts can meet without repeating old wounds. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because what felt like delay was actually divine restraint. You were being protected from repeating a version of the story that no longer fit who you are now. That's why the past connection felt intense but unstable. That's why timing never seemed to cooperate. You weren't wrong, you were early. Don't scroll, listen to this. Lately, You've been feeling more intuitive, more emotionally aware, more sensitive to energy around you. Crowded places drain you faster. Certain conversations feel heavier. Silence feels necessary. That's because your spiritual awareness has expanded, and once that happens, you can't go back to ignoring what your soul feels. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because your soulmate operates on that same frequency. And when two souls are tuning into the same frequency, even miles apart, even without words, the pull becomes undeniable. That's why memories surface out of nowhere. That's why you feel waves of emotion that don't belong to the present moment. That's why you dream vividly or wake up thinking about someone you haven't spoken to in a long time. Don't scroll, listen to this. Energy doesn't lie, and it doesn't disconnect just because circumstances changed. What's meant for you responds when you grow. And here's something important you need to hear: you don't have to chase what's aligned with you. Real love doesn't require you to abandon yourself. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because you've spent too long thinking love was something you had to earn by enduring pain. But the love coming toward you meets you with calm, not chaos. It brings clarity, not confusion. It feels steady, not overwhelming. Don't scroll. Listen to this. Very soon, sooner than you expect, something is going to make sense in a way that stops you in your tracks. It might be a message you weren't expecting, a conversation that feels oddly timed but perfectly placed, a realization that hits you when you're alone and quiet. When it happens, your body will recognize it before your mind does. Your shoulders will relax. Your breath will deepen. Your heart will feel seen instead of anxious. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because that feeling, peace mixed with emotion, is your confirmation. Not excitement that burns out, not intensity that leaves you guessing, but recognition. Don't scroll, listen to this. The universe has been teaching you patience because patience was the final lesson before alignment. You had to learn how to be whole on your own so you wouldn't lose yourself when love returns. And it will return. Not as a rescue, not as a distraction, but as a reflection of the growth you've already done. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because you're standing at the edge of a turning point. The chapter you're closing taught you resilience. The chapter opening now will teach you trust. Stay open. Stay grounded. Keep listening to the signs. And whatever you do, don't talk yourself out of what feels peaceful just because you're used to struggle. The universe didn't bring you this far to leave you guessing. You're being guided. You're being prepared. And what's meant for you is moving closer, even now. Don't scroll, listen to this, because if you're still here, this message is for you, and your heart needs this right now more than you're willing to admit. There's a reason you couldn't quite move on. A reason your attention keeps getting pulled back to thoughts of love, destiny, and timing, even when you tell yourself you're fine. Stay with me, don't scroll, listen to this, because the universe doesn't keep tapping someone on the shoulder unless something important is about to be revealed. You've been standing in a quiet in-between space lately, haven't you? Not who you used to be, not quite who you're becoming yet. Days where you feel strong and at peace, followed by moments where emotion hits you out of nowhere. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because that emotional fluctuation isn't instability, it's transition. It's the feeling of one chapter dissolving while another one is forming beneath the surface. And here's what you need to hear clearly. Your soulmate has been energetically closer during this phase than at any other time before. Don't scroll, listen to this. You might have assumed distance meant disconnection, but spiritually, distance often creates clarity. The space you've been sitting in has allowed both of you to grow without interference, without ego, without repeating old patterns. That's why the memories that surface now feel different than before. They don't sting the same way. They don't pull you backward. They feel softer, wiser, almost instructive. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because those memories are no longer about longing, they're about recognition. You're finally seeing the connection for what it was meant to teach you, not just what it cost you. Don't scroll, listen to this. Have you noticed how your intuition has sharpened? How you can sense when something isn't aligned almost immediately now? How you no longer force conversations, chase clarity, or beg for emotional safety? That shift didn't happen by accident. You earned it through heartbreak, silence, reflection, and choosing yourself when it would have been easier to numb out. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because that growth is exactly why the universe is rearranging things again. Soulmate connections don't return to chaos, they return to stability. They don't reappear to test you. They reappear to meet you. Don't scroll, listen to this. You've been seeing signs increase lately, haven't you? Not just numbers, but patterns, running into the same themes in conversations, hearing the same message through different people, feeling drawn to content that talks about alignment, healing, and divine timing. That's because you're nearing a point of integration. The universe repeats itself louder when you're ready to understand. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the signs are no longer asking you to wait, they're asking you to trust. Trust that what left had to leave. Trust that what stayed behind was meant to guide you. Trust that what's returning will feel different, because you are different. Don't scroll, listen to this. You didn't imagine the connection. You didn't romanticize it. You didn't make it bigger than it was. What you felt was real, and real soul connections don't fade just because time passes. They transform, they pause, they reroute, but they don't disappear. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because deep down you've been afraid to hope again. Afraid that believing in love means reopening old wounds. Afraid that trusting the universe means risking disappointment. But hear this gently, hope doesn't make you weak, it makes you receptive. And receptivity is the doorway to everything you've been asking for. Don't scroll, listen to this. You've done the hard part already. You sat with your pain instead of running from it. You learned how to self-soothe instead of seeking validation. You chose growth over bitterness, even when no one was watching. That's why things are shifting now. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the universe responds to internal change before external proof appears. That's why the clarity is coming before the confirmation. That's why the peace arrived before the reunion. That's why your heart feels strangely calm even as something new approaches. Don't scroll, listen to this. Very soon, you're going to be faced with a moment that tests everything you've learned. Not a dramatic test, not chaos, something quieter. A choice between old fear and new trust. Between closing off and staying open. Between doubting yourself and honoring what feels steady. When that moment comes, your body will guide you. Your nervous system will recognize safety. Your heart will feel grounded instead of racing. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because that sense of calm is the clearest sign of alignment there is. Passion that destabilizes you isn't destiny. Peace that expands you is. Don't scroll, listen to this. You are not behind. You are not late. You didn't miss your chance at love. Everything unfolded the way it did so you could meet this connection with discernment instead of desperation. And whether your soulmate returns in a familiar form or appears in a new one that feels instantly known, you will recognize them, not by intensity, but by ease. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the universe isn't asking you to figure everything out. It's asking you to stay present. To stay open. To stay kind to yourself in the moments where uncertainty creeps in. What's meant for you isn't confused about you. It's not lost. It's not delayed out of spite. It's aligning at the same pace your soul is. Don't scroll, listen to this. The chapter ahead won't require you to abandon who you are. It will honor the work you've done. It will feel mutual, balanced, and emotionally safe. And the reason this message keeps finding you, the reason your heart feels stirred instead of anxious as you listen, is because you're ready now. Ready to receive instead of brace. Ready to trust instead of protect. Ready to let love meet you where you stand. Stay open. Stay grounded. And remember, when the universe speaks this clearly, it's because something real is unfolding. Don't scroll. Listen to this, because if you're still here, there is a reason, and this message is for you, and your heart needs this right now even if your mind is trying to stay guarded. Stay with me. Don't scroll. Listen to this. You've reached a point where distraction doesn't work the way it used to, where noise feels heavier, and where your soul keeps asking for something real, something steady, something true. That's not random. That's awareness. That's what happens right before clarity arrives. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because lately you've been reflecting more than reacting, feeling more than forcing, and noticing how certain desires no longer fit the version of you that you're becoming. You didn't lose your softness, you refined it. You didn't become distant, you became discerning. And that shift matters more than you know. Don't scroll. Listen to this. The universe has been watching how you choose yourself when no one else is choosing you, how you stay kind even after disappointment, how you still believe in love even after it asks too much of you. That's why things are rearranging quietly behind the scenes. Not loudly. Not dramatically. But intentionally. This message is for you. And your heart needs this right now, because soulmate connections don't rush back into lives that aren't ready to hold them. They wait. They align. They arrive when the lesson has been integrated, not when the pain is loudest. And you've integrated more than you give yourself credit for. Don't scroll, listen to this. There was a time when you would have chased clarity, over-explained your feelings, or accepted uncertainty just to keep a connection alive. But look at you now. You pause. You observe. You trust what your body tells you before your mind starts negotiating. That's growth. That's healing. And that's exactly why the energy around you feels different lately, calmer, slower, more intentional. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because what's approaching your life requires presence, not panic. It requires openness, not hypervigilance. It requires trust, not control. Don't scroll, listen to this. You've been noticing synchronicities increasing again, haven't you? Not just numbers, but timing. Thinking of something moments before it appears, feeling an urge to rest right before life slows you down, sensing when something isn't aligned without needing proof. That's not coincidence. That's coherence. Your inner world and the universe are finally speaking the same language. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because when alignment happens internally, reality has no choice but to respond. It might not respond how you expect. It might not come in the form you imagined. But it will come in the form that feels right instead of familiar. Don't scroll, listen to this. You've been releasing old timelines without even realizing it, versions of the future you once hoped for but no longer resonate, relationships that looked good on paper but didn't feel safe in your body, dreams that belonged to survival mode, not to your true self. Letting go of those things felt like loss at first, but what it really was clearing. Making room. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because love can't arrive fully when your hands are still holding on to what outgrew you. And you've been brave enough to loosen your grip. Don't scroll, listen to this. The next phase of your journey isn't about proving anything. It's not about being chosen. It's not about earning love through effort or endurance. It's about resonance. Mutual recognition. Emotional safety that feels boring to your trauma but nourishing to your soul. And that shift can feel unsettling if you're not used to peace. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because peace isn't the absence of passion, it's the presence of trust. Don't scroll, listen to this. There may be moments coming soon where you're tempted to second-guess what feels calm, to wonder if you're missing something, to question whether ease means lack of depth. That's old conditioning speaking. That's the echo of past chaos trying to stay relevant. But hear this clearly. What's meant for you won't require you to brace for impact. It won't keep you guessing. It won't make you doubt your worth. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the connection aligning with you meets you where you are emotionally, not where you used to be. Don't scroll, listen to this. You are stepping into a chapter where intuition leads and fear follows, not the other way around. Where your nervous system becomes your compass. Where your yes feels grounded and your no feels clean. That didn't happen by accident. It happened because you chose to listen to yourself when it was uncomfortable. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because that self-trust is the final doorway before alignment. Don't scroll, listen to this. You may not have all the details yet. You may not know the how or the when. But you don't need to. The universe only reveals the next step when you're ready to walk it without hesitation. And you're closer than you think. There will be a moment soon, quiet, ordinary, easy to overlook, where something just feels right. A conversation that flows. A presence that calms you. A realization that lands gently instead of shaking you. That moment will be your confirmation. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because that calm recognition is what destiny actually feels like. Not fireworks that burn out. Not intensity that drains you. But steadiness that stays. Don't scroll, listen to this. You're not waiting anymore. You're aligning. And alignment doesn't announce itself, it unfolds. Stay present. Stay open. Stay honest with yourself. And trust this above all else, the universe does not awaken hearts without intention. If your heart feels seen right now, it's because something real is responding. And what's meant for you is not watching from afar anymore, it's moving with purpose, at the same pace you finally are. Don't scroll, listen to this, because if you're still here, there is something important unfolding for you, and your heart needs this right now even if your mind is trying to stay busy or skeptical. Stay with me. Don't scroll. Listen to this. You've reached a point where your soul is no longer satisfied with surface-level answers, quick distractions, or half-fulfilled connections. Something deeper has been calling you, and you've felt it in the quiet moments when everything slows down and you can finally hear yourself think. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the restlessness you've been feeling isn't impatience, it's alignment knocking. You've done the work of letting go of what drained you, even when it hurt, even when it meant walking away without closure. And that matters more than you know. Don't scroll, listen to this. The universe has been paying attention to how you've changed, to how you no longer chase validation, how you no longer shrink yourself to fit into spaces that don't honor you. You've been learning the difference between love and attachment, between longing and intuition, between fear and instinct. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because those lessons weren't random, they were preparation. There was a time when you would have mistaken intensity for destiny, chaos for chemistry, uncertainty for excitement. But you don't see love that way anymore. And that's not because you became guarded, it's because you became aware. Don't scroll, listen to this. You've been feeling moments of unexpected peace lately, haven't you? Small pockets of calm that arrive without explanation, followed by sudden waves of emotion that don't feel overwhelming, just releasing. That's integration. That's your nervous system finally learning that it doesn't have to stay on high alert. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the love aligning with you can only meet you in a regulated, grounded state. It can't reach you through survival mode. That's why the universe slowed things down. That's why answers didn't come when you begged for them. Timing wasn't working against you, it was working on you. Don't scroll, listen to this. You've been noticing signs again, but they feel different now. Not desperate, not urgent, gentle. Reassuring. A song that plays at the exact right moment. A phrase you hear twice in one day. Numbers appearing when you're calm instead of anxious. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the universe communicates softly when you're finally listening. It no longer needs to shake your world to get your attention. You're tuned in. And that's a powerful place to be. Don't scroll, listen to this. There may be moments coming where you feel tempted to rush the process, to peek ahead, to demand certainty before moving forward. That's human. But hear this clearly, what's meant for you doesn't need to be chased or cornered. It responds to trust, not pressure. And you've been learning how to trust yourself again, which is the hardest part. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because self-trust is the foundation of any soul-aligned connection. Without it, love feels like risk. With it, love feels like home. Don't scroll, listen to this. You didn't imagine the depth you're capable of. You didn't make up the desire for something meaningful, mutual, and emotionally safe. That longing is part of who you are, and it was never meant to be silenced. The world may have tried to convince you to settle, to harden, to lower your expectations, but your soul refused. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because honoring that refusal is what kept you aligned with your path. Don't scroll, listen to this. Very soon, you may notice that your reactions change before your circumstances do. You'll feel less triggered by things that once unsettled you. You'll respond instead of react. You'll choose clarity over assumption. And that inner shift is the final signal before outer change appears. The universe always mirrors inner stability with external opportunity. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because you're closer than you think, not to an ending, but to a beginning that doesn't require you to abandon yourself. Don't scroll, listen to this. When the next connection reveals itself, whether through a familiar face returning with new energy or a new presence that feels strangely known, you won't feel overwhelmed. You'll feel grounded. You'll feel seen without having to explain yourself. You'll feel calm instead of consumed. And that calm will feel unfamiliar if you're used to emotional highs and lows, but unfamiliar doesn't mean wrong. Sometimes unfamiliar is just healthy. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because your soul is learning to recognize safety as attraction, consistency as romance, and peace as passion. Don't scroll, listen to this. You're not here to repeat cycles. You're here to complete them. And completion doesn't always look dramatic, it looks quiet, steady, and deeply affirming. It looks like choosing what feels right instead of what feels urgent. It looks like trusting the process even when you can't see the full picture yet. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the universe doesn't bring you this far just to test you again, it brings you here to receive. Stay present. Stay open. Let things unfold without forcing meaning onto every moment. What's meant for you is aligning naturally, responding to who you've become, not who you were when you were hurting. And if your heart feels calm listening to this, if something inside you feels seen instead of stirred, that's your confirmation. You're not waiting anymore. You're ready. Don't scroll. Listen to this, because if you're still here, it's not by accident, and this message is for you, and your heart needs this right now even if part of you is resisting how deeply this feels. Stay with me. Don't scroll. Listen to this. You didn't come this far just to turn away now. Something inside you recognized this moment before your mind could explain it, and that recognition is important. You've been standing at the edge of understanding lately, sensing that your life is shifting in subtle but undeniable ways. Not loud changes. Not dramatic announcements. Quiet ones. Internal ones. The kind that rearrange you from the inside out. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because you've been learning how to listen to yourself again after a long time of tuning yourself out to survive. You've been noticing how your tolerance for emotional chaos has dropped, how certain conversations feel draining instead of exciting, how peace feels more attractive than intensity. That didn't happen randomly. That happened because your soul finally feels safe enough to tell the truth. Don't scroll, listen to this. You've already crossed a threshold most people don't even realize exists. You stopped romanticizing potential. You stopped waiting for someone to become who they promised they could be. You stopped negotiating your needs just to keep connection alive. And even though that choice felt lonely at times, it also felt clean. Honest. Grounded. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because that decision changed your energetic trajectory completely. You may not see all the results yet, but the universe felt it immediately. Alignment always responds faster than manifestation. Don't scroll, listen to this. You've been feeling more present in your body lately, even in moments of uncertainty. Instead of spiraling, you pause. Instead of chasing reassurance, you breathe. Instead of reacting, you observe. That's not emotional numbness, that's regulation. That's your nervous system finally learning that it doesn't have to stay in fight or flight to be loved. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the love that's meant to meet you next can only meet you where you're calm, not where you're bracing for impact. That's why the universe waited. That's why things didn't rush back when you wanted them to. Timing wasn't punishment, it was precision. Don't scroll, listen to this. You've been sensing a presence lately, not in a spooky way, but in a comforting one. A feeling of being supported even when you're alone. A quiet reassurance that you're not doing life wrong, even when you don't have all the answers. That's guidance. That's protection. That's what shows up when you've done enough inner work to be trusted with what you've been asking for. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the universe doesn't send signs to confuse you, it sends them to steady you. And you've been seeing them everywhere. In timing that feels too exact. In words that land too close to home. In moments where you feel seen without being watched. Don't scroll, listen to this. There may be moments coming where you're tempted to doubt this calm, to wonder if you're missing something, to question whether love is supposed to feel more intense, more dramatic, more consuming. That doubt isn't intuition, it's conditioning. It's old survival patterns asking to stay relevant. But you don't live there anymore. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because what's aligning with you doesn't require you to abandon your center. It doesn't need you anxious to stay interesting. It doesn't need uncertainty to stay alive. It meets you in clarity, consistency, and mutual effort. Don't scroll, listen to this. You've been quietly forgiving parts of your past you swore you'd never make peace with. Not because what happened was okay, but because carrying resentment became heavier than releasing it. That release didn't make you weak, it made you available. Available for something new to land without being filtered through old wounds. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because forgiveness isn't about the other person, it's about freeing your future from repeating the past. And you've been choosing your future, even on days it felt scary. Don't scroll, listen to this. There is a moment approaching, not dramatic, not explosive, but deeply significant. A moment where something aligns so naturally that you almost question whether it's real because it doesn't hurt. A moment where connection feels mutual instead of effortful. A moment where you don't feel the need to perform, prove, or protect. When that moment arrives, your body will recognize it instantly. You'll feel grounded, present, safe. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because safety is the signal you've been overlooking for years. Not butterflies born of anxiety, but steadiness born of trust. Don't scroll, listen to this. You're not being tested anymore, you're being trusted. Trusted to choose differently. Trusted to walk away from what doesn't align without explaining yourself. Trusted to stay open without self-betrayal. And that trust didn't come from the outside, it came from you. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because self-trust is the foundation of everything that's about to unfold. Without it, love feels like risk. With it, love feels like recognition. Don't scroll, listen to this. You don't need to force anything in this next chapter. You don't need to decode every sign or rush every feeling. What's meant for you will feel responsive, not evasive. Clear, not confusing. Reciprocal, not one-sided. And if something requires you to abandon your peace to keep it, it's not aligned, no matter how familiar it feels. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because familiarity is not destiny. Resonance is. Don't scroll, listen to this. The universe didn't awaken you just to leave you standing alone with awareness. Awareness is preparation, not the destination. And you've prepared long enough. Now it's time to allow life to meet you halfway. Stay present. Stay honest. Stay open without abandoning yourself. And trust this deeply, if your heart feels calm listening to this, if something inside you feels affirmed instead of stirred, that's your confirmation. You're not late. You're not lost. You're exactly where alignment happens. And what's meant for you isn't watching from a distance anymore, it's responding to who you've become, right now. Don't scroll, listen to this, because if you're still here, it's because something in you knows this moment matters, and this message is for you, and your heart needs this right now even if you can't fully explain why. Stay with me. Don't scroll. Listen to this. You've been standing in a quieter kind of power lately, the kind that doesn't announce itself, the kind that comes from finally knowing who you are without needing validation to prove it. And that shift has changed everything, even if your outer world hasn't caught up yet. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the universe responds to inner certainty before it delivers outer confirmation. You've been feeling it, the way your reactions are slower, your standards are clearer, and your tolerance for emotional confusion is almost gone. That's not you becoming cold. That's you becoming aligned. Don't scroll, listen to this. There was a time when silence made you anxious, when unanswered questions felt unbearable, when waiting felt like rejection. But look at you now. Silence doesn't scare you the same way. You don't rush to fill it. You sit in it, breathe through it, and trust that what's meant to speak to you will do so without force. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because that calm is not detachment, it's trust. It's the result of healing wounds you didn't even know were still open. Don't scroll, listen to this. You've been noticing how your body responds differently to people now. How some energies feel heavy immediately, while others feel grounding without effort. How certain conversations drain you faster than before, while others leave you feeling seen without explanation. That awareness is your intuition finally being given the microphone instead of being ignored. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because your intuition has been right all along, you just weren't always ready to listen. Don't scroll, listen to this. You've also been feeling a strange sense of anticipation, haven't you? Not excitement that makes you restless, but a steady knowing that something is aligning. Like standing at the edge of something meaningful without needing to rush toward it. That feeling isn't impatience, it's readiness. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because readiness doesn't feel loud. It feels grounded. It feels steady. It feels like trust without proof. Don't scroll, listen to this. You've done something incredibly important recently, even if no one saw it. You stopped abandoning yourself to keep connections alive. You stopped explaining your worth to people who were committed to misunderstanding you. You stopped shrinking your needs to avoid being too much. That decision rewired your path. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the universe only meets people at the level of self-respect they're willing to hold. And you raised yours. Don't scroll, listen to this. You may notice now that things that once tempted you no longer hold the same power. Old patterns. Old dynamics. Old versions of love that required you to work for crumbs. They don't excite you anymore. Not because you don't care, but because you finally know what care should feel like. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because disinterest in what drains you is a sign that your energy is being reserved for what nourishes you. Don't scroll, listen to this. There's a moment approaching where you'll be asked, quietly, subtly, to choose between what feels familiar and what feels true. It won't be dramatic. No ultimatums. No chaos. Just a simple fork in the road where one option feels heavy and the other feels calm. That's the test. And it's not a test of love, it's a test of self-trust. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because you already know the answer. Your body will tell you before your mind tries to overthink it. Don't scroll, listen to this. You've been learning that peace can feel boring to a nervous system addicted to survival, and that realization alone has changed how you define passion. Passion isn't intensity that leaves you exhausted. It's presence that feels steady. It's laughter without tension. It's silence without fear. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the connection aligning with you doesn't spike your anxiety, it soothes it. And that's how you'll recognize it. Don't scroll. Listen to this. You are no longer being shaped by what hurt you. You are being guided by what healed you. That's why the universe feels closer now. That's why signs show up when you're calm instead of desperate. That's why timing feels intentional instead of cruel. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because alignment doesn't chase, it responds. And everything responding to you now is doing so because you're finally standing still long enough to receive. Don't scroll. Listen to this. There may be moments ahead where doubt whispers that you're asking for too much, that ease can't be real, that love always comes with a catch. That voice isn't wisdom, it's memory. And memories don't get to dictate your future anymore. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because you're allowed to outgrow the stories that once kept you safe. Don't scroll, listen to this. You are not behind. You are not waiting. You are arriving. Arriving at a version of yourself that doesn't need to prove anything, chase anything, or tolerate confusion to feel chosen. And what's meant to meet you next will recognize that immediately. It won't rush you. It won't test you. It won't require you to perform. It will meet you where you are, with clarity, consistency, and care. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because destiny doesn't feel like chaos, it feels like coming home. And if your heart feels calm, steady, and quietly emotional listening to this, that's not coincidence. That's recognition.